The divorce papers hit my desk at exactly 3:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. Jessica didn't even have the decency to hand them to me personally. Instead, her lawyer delivered them to my office at InnovateTech Solutions while I was debugging code for our latest app launch. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from, and if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow, I've saved something extra special for you. For years of marriage, reduced to legal terminology and property division charts, the reason stated was simple: irreconcilable differences. But I knew the real reason was sitting in our living room right now, probably doing another one of his live-streamed workout sessions. Ryan Torres, the personal trainer who somehow became more important to my wife than our wedding vows. It started 6 months ago when Jessica decided she needed to get back in shape after turning 30. I supported her completely. Hell, I even paid for the premium membership at Elite Fitness Studio because I wanted her to be happy. What I didn't expect was for her to come home every day talking about Ryan this, Ryan that. How Ryan understood her fitness goals. How Ryan was helping her discover her true potential. How Ryan made her feel alive again. Should have seen the signs earlier. The late-night gym sessions that somehow required 2-hour conversations afterward. The sudden interest in protein shakes and athletic wear that cost more than my monthly car payment. The way she'd light up when her phone buzzed with notifications from his social media accounts. But I was an idiot. I trusted her. I believed in us. The first time I questioned it, she accused me of being controlling. David, you're being paranoid. He's my trainer, not my boyfriend. God, you're so insecure. Those words stung because maybe I was insecure. Maybe watching your wife transform herself for another man does that to you. Maybe seeing her become someone you barely recognize while she treats you like a roommate she tolerates will mess with your head. The second time I brought it up, she stopped talking to me for 3 days. 3 days of sleeping in separate rooms, eating meals in silence, and pretending everything was normal when we ran into neighbors or friends. I caved first, apologizing for doubting her, promising to be more supportive. She accepted my apology, with the enthusiasm of someone agreeing to eat vegetables. The third time never came because I was too much of a coward to rock the boat again. Then came the family dinner at her parents' restaurant. The Liu family kitchen had been struggling ever since the pandemic, and Mr. Liu had been dropping hints about needing investors or partners to keep the business afloat. As their son-in-law and someone in the tech industry with connections, I'd been quietly working on a plan to help them modernize their operations, maybe develop an app for online ordering and delivery optimization. That night, I was excited to share my ideas. I'd spent weeks researching restaurant management software, talking to developer friends, even sketching out a business plan. Jessica knew about the project. I'd asked for her input multiple times, hoping it would be something we could work on. Together, a way to help her family while strengthening our partnership. But when Mr. Liu asked about potential solutions for the restaurant, Jessica immediately jumped in. Actually, Dad, Ryan has some amazing ideas about this. He's helped several small businesses with their social media marketing and customer engagement. He thinks you could really benefit from fitness-focused partnerships. Maybe offer healthy menu options, create content around active lifestyles. I sat there, fork halfway to my mouth, watching my wife pitch another man's half-baked ideas while completely ignoring the comprehensive plan I'd been developing for her family's business. Her parents nodded politely, but I could see the confusion in their eyes. They knew I worked in tech. They knew I'd been researching solutions for them. Yet here was their daughter, promoting her trainer's marketing suggestions like they were revolutionary business insights. What about David's app idea? Amanda, Jessica's younger sister, spoke up from across the table. She'd been quiet most of the evening, but now she was looking directly at me with those dark eyes that somehow always seemed to see more than everyone else in the room. Didn't you say you'd been working on something specifically for restaurants? Jessica's smile faltered for just a moment. Oh, right. David's been playing around with some coding stuff. It's sweet, but Ryan actually has real experience with business growth strategies, playing around, coding stuff. For weeks of research, countless hours of development work, and genuine care for her family's livelihood, reduced to a hobby she found mildly endearing. I felt something crack inside my chest. a small fissure that would only grow wider over the coming months. Amanda was still looking at me. I saw something in her expression I hadn't noticed before. Anger, not at me, but for me. She understood what had just happened, even if no one else at the table seemed to catch it. "I'd love to hear about your app idea, David," she said firmly. "Maybe we could grab coffee sometime and you could walk me through it?" Jessica's eyes flashed. "Amanda, you don't know anything about business apps. I know enough about design and user experience," Amanda replied calmly. "And I care about what happens to our family's restaurant." The tension at the table was thick enough to cut. Mrs. Liu quickly changed the subject to the weather, and the rest of dinner passed in uncomfortable small talk. But I kept catching Amanda's eye across the table, seeing that same frustrated anger. I felt reflected back at me. That was 3 months before the divorce papers arrived. In those 3 months, things deteriorated rapidly. Jessica started staying out later, sometimes not coming home until after midnight. Her explanations became more elaborate and less believable. Client meetings that ran late. Group fitness classes that somehow required hours of post-workout discussions. Team-building exercises for trainers that happened at bars and restaurants I'd never heard of. The worst part wasn't the lies. It was how she delivered them with the casual confidence of someone who believed I was too stupid or too weak to question her. She'd gotten comfortable treating me like a fool, and maybe that's exactly what I'd become. I threw myself into work, spending 14-hour days at the office, finishing the restaurant app project, even though I knew Jessica would never support it. The irony wasn't lost on me. While my marriage crumbled, I was building something too. Help her family, driven by a desperate need to prove my worth to people who might not even want my help anymore. Amanda started texting me during this period. Nothing inappropriate, just check-ins about the app development and occasional questions about the restaurant business. She'd always been the quieter, loose sister, overshadowed by Jessica's outgoing personality and career success. But our conversations revealed someone thoughtful and perceptive. Someone who actually listened when I explained technical concepts or shared my concerns about the restaurant's future. "Jessica doesn't appreciate what she has," Amanda texted me one evening after a particularly brutal family dinner where Jessica had spent the entire meal on her phone, presumably texting Ryan about his latest Instagram post. I stared at that message for a long time before responding. "I just want her to be happy." "What about your happiness?" It was such a simple question, but I realized I couldn't remember the last time I'd considered my own happiness as something worth pursuing. I'd become so focused on saving my marriage, on being the perfect, understanding husband, that I'd forgotten I was supposed to be an equal partner in this relationship, not just a supporting character in Jessica's story, the divorce. Papers were Jessica's way of writing me out of her story entirely. But as I sat in my office that Tuesday afternoon, reading through the legal dissolution of everything I'd thought we'd built together, I felt something unexpected alongside the pain and humiliation. Relief. For the first time in months, I knew exactly where I stood. No more guessing games. No more elaborate lies. No more pretending that late-night training sessions were anything other than what they obviously were. The uncertainty was over. The pattern was finally broken. My phone buzzed with a text from Amanda. "Heard about the papers. I'm sorry, David. You deserve so much better than this." I looked at those words and realized she was right. No, we did deserve better. And maybe, just maybe, it was time to start believing that myself. The humiliation started immediately. Portland's tech community wasn't huge, and word about my divorce spread faster than a viral TikTok video. Suddenly, every networking event became an exercise in forced smiles and awkward conversations. People who'd known Jessica and me as a couple didn't know how to act around me anymore. Some offered sympathy that felt more like pity. Others avoided me entirely, as if divorce might be contagious. But the real blow came when I discovered that Jessica had been telling people her version of events for weeks before the papers were even filed. According to her narrative, I was the neglectful workaholic husband who'd driven her away through emotional unavailability. She painted herself as the victim of a loveless marriage, finally brave enough to seek happiness elsewhere. Ryan, in this twisted version of reality, was her salvation from years of feeling unappreciated and ignored. The truth was so much messier and more painful than her clean storyline. Marcus, my best friend since college, was the one who finally told me what people were saying. We were grabbing beers at a brewery in the Pearl District when he couldn't hold it in anymore. "David, I have to tell you something, and you're not going to like it," he said, staring into his IPA like it held the secrets of the universe. "Jessica's been talking to people, a lot of people. She's making it sound like you were some kind of absent husband who cared more about code than your marriage." I felt my stomach drop. What exactly is she saying? That you worked all the time, never paid attention to her needs, made her feel invisible in her own home. She's telling people that Ryan helped her remember what it felt like to be valued and appreciated. Marcus looked up at me with genuine anger in his eyes. "Complete garbage, David. I've seen how you treated her. You bent over backward for that woman." The betrayal cut deeper than I'd expected. It was one thing to lose your wife to another man. It was another thing entirely to watch her rewrite history to make herself the hero of the story. Every sacrifice. Preparing and narrating this story took us a lot of time, so if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us. Now back to the story. I'd made every time I'd supported her dreams, even when they didn't include me. Every moment I'd bitten my tongue to keep the peace. All of it was being erased and replaced with a narrative that painted me as the villain. But Jessica wasn't done. The nuclear option came 2 weeks later at the monthly family dinner. I debated whether to attend, but Amanda had specifically asked me to come. "Mom and Dad want to talk to you about the restaurant project," she'd said. "Please don't let Jessica's drama stop you from helping our family." I should have known. It was a setup. When I arrived at the Liu family kitchen, the dining room was fuller than usual. Not just immediate family, but cousins, family, friends, even some of the restaurant staff. It felt like an audience had been assembled, though for what, I couldn't yet imagine. Jessica was there with Ryan, of course. He looked every bit the Instagram fitness influencer, with his perfectly styled hair and designer athleisure wear that probably cost more than most people's monthly rent. They were sitting close together, his arm casually draped across the back of her chair in a display of ownership that made my jaw clench. "David." Mrs. Liu greeted me with her usual warmth, though I detected something strained in her smile. "Come, sit. We have much to discuss." I took the seat Amanda had saved for me, directly across from Jessica and Ryan. The symbolism wasn't lost on anyone in the room. Old life versus new life. Literal opposites facing each other across a table laden with dim sum and unspoken tensions. Mr. Liu stood up, clearing his throat. "Family and friends, we wanted everyone here tonight because we have important announcements to make about the restaurant's future." My heart started racing. This was it. The moment they'd decide whether to move forward with my app development project or find another solution. I'd spent the last month refining the concept, creating detailed mock-ups, even building a working prototype. It represented hundreds of hours of work and genuine care for their struggling business. "First," Mr. Liu continued, "we want to thank David for all his hard work on the technology project. Your efforts have been very educational. My stomach started to sink. However, after much consideration and discussion with family members, we've decided to go in a different direction." He gestured toward Ryan, who straightened up with barely concealed smugness. "Ryan has introduced us to some exciting opportunities in the fitness and wellness space. We're going to rebrand the restaurant as a health-focused establishment, with meal plans, fitness partnerships, and social media marketing." The room felt like it was spinning. I looked around at the faces staring back at me, some sympathetic, others carefully neutral. Amanda's eyes were filled with fury, but she remained silent. Jessica was studying her manicure like it was the most fascinating thing in the world. "We appreciate everything you've done," Mrs. Liu added gently, "but Ryan's vision aligns better with current market trends." Our Ryan's vision. 3 months of work. Dismissed for the half-baked ideas of a personal trainer whose business experience consisted of selling protein powder to gym brothers. I felt heat rising in my cheeks, a combination of humiliation and rage that threatened to overwhelm my carefully maintained composure. "Could I ask what specifically appealed to you about this new direction?" I managed to say, my voice steady despite the chaos in my head. Ryan leaned forward, clearly relishing his moment in the spotlight. Well, David, the fitness industry is exploding right now. People want authentic, lifestyle-focused brands, not just another food delivery app. I've already got connections with influencers who could promote the restaurant, and my personal brand brings built-in credibility to the health space. It's personal brand. I wanted to laugh at the absurdity, but the sound that came out was more like a strangled cough. This man, who'd stolen my wife and was now stealing my chance to help her family, was lecturing me about business strategy, while sitting in a restaurant that had been serving the community for 20 years before he'd even heard of Portland. The app would have increased efficiency and reduced costs, I said, looking directly at Mr. Leo. The analytics alone could have improved your profit margins by 15 to 20%. Profit margins are old thinking, Ryan interjected smoothly. It's about building community, creating experiences, developing relationships with customers who become brand ambassadors. Buzzword salad. He was spouting buzzword salad, while my comprehensive business plan sat ignored in my laptop bag. What really killed me was seeing Jessica's face as Ryan talked. She was looking at him like he was delivering the Gettysburg Address instead of regurgitating marketing cliches he'd probably learned from YouTube videos. Amanda finally spoke up. Dad, did you actually review David's proposal? Because I looked at it, and the projected revenue increases were significant. Amanda, please, Jessica said sharply. This isn't your decision to make. Neither is it yours, Amanda shot back. This is Mom and Dad's restaurant, not your boyfriend's social media experiment. The word boyfriend hung in the air like a bomb. Ryan's jaw tightened, and Jessica's face flushed red. We all knew what was happening, but no one had been crude enough to name it directly until now. Ryan is helping our family, Jessica said, her voice rising. Unlike some people who disappear into their computers and ignore real human connections. And there it was, the public character assassination I'd been dreading. In front of her parents, her extended family, and half the restaurant staff. Jessica had just confirmed every nasty thing she'd apparently been saying about me for months. Real human connections, I repeated slowly. Is that what we're calling it now? The silence that followed was deafening. Mr. Liu shifted uncomfortably. Mrs. Liu wouldn't look up from her hands. And several cousins openly stared, enthralled by the unfolding drama. Amanda's grip on her chopsticks was so tight her knuckles had gone pale. Sensing an opportunity to strengthen his position, Ryan leaned over and took Jessica's hand. David, I get that this is hard for you, he said smoothly, but Jessica and I have found something real. Life throws curveballs sometimes, and trying to fight them only makes it worse. The patronizing tone, the way he clutched Jessica's hand like a trophy, the casual dismissal of 4 years of marriage as just an unexpected turn, it was too much. I stood so abruptly that my chair scraped across the floor with a screech. You're right, I said softly. Life does take unexpected turns. I pulled out my phone and opened the prototype app I'd been building. Without hesitation, I tapped through the interface and deleted everything, months of code. Designs, marketing plans, projections gone in seconds. Good luck with the rebrand, I said, looking at Mr. Liu, but directing my words toward Jessica. I hope the influencer angle works out better than expected. I turned to leave, but Amanda's voice stopped me. David, wait. I looked back. She was standing now, face flushed with anger and something more conviction. This isn't right, she said, her voice shaking. And everyone here knows it. You've done nothing but support this family, and this is how we repay you. By backing a stranger with buzzwords and selfies over someone who actually knows what they're doing. Amanda, sit down, Mrs. Liu interjected, her voice stern. No, Mom. Someone has to say it. Ryan doesn't care about this restaurant. He just wants to slap it on his Instagram resume. And Jessica. She turned to her sister, fire in her eyes. You should be ashamed. Jessica stood. You have no idea what I went through. You don't know how alone I felt. How ignored I was. Amanda's tone turned cold. I know David better than you do. And I know exactly who. You've become... Voices erupted around the table, people choosing sides, Ryan awkwardly trying to calm the storm while clearly relishing the chaos, and Mrs. Liu trying to restore order. But I was already moving toward the exit, heart pounding with a mix of embarrassment and something deeper. Behind me, I heard Amanda's footsteps. "David, don't leave like this." I turned. She stood in the doorway, eyes glistening. Behind her, the dinner had completely unraveled. Jessica's voice rose above the rest, ranting about betrayal and rewriting our history. "I can't sit here and listen to this," I said. "I know. I'm sorry. This isn't how our family should behave." She stepped closer, her voice quieter. "But I need you to know some of us see what's really going on. We don't all believe her version of things." For the first time in months, I saw something real in someone's eyes. Understanding, no manipulation, no sideshow. "Thank you," I said. "That matters more than you know." As I walked out to my car, the noise of the fight still echoed. Behind me, my phone buzzed, probably Marcus, or maybe a few sympathetic friends already hearing whispers about the disaster that had been Leo's family dinner. But for the first time in a long while, I felt something close to clarity. The masks had dropped. The performance was over. Jessica had made her choice. Now I was free to make mine. What I hadn't expected was to find Amanda standing beside me on it. 3 weeks after that blowout at the restaurant, I was drifting through my own life like a ghost. The divorce was speeding along. Jessica hadn't expected me to give in. So icily, she wanted the house. Fine. Half my InnovateTech stock options. Take them. I just wanted it over. I'd moved into a temporary downtown apartment, fully furnished, fully soulless. Beige walls, sterile furniture, not a personal item in sight. Each morning, I woke up feeling like a guest in someone else's shell of a life. Work became my only safe space. I buried myself in projects, stayed late enough that the janitors knew my name. Marcus kept inviting me out for drinks, but I wasn't ready. The wound still stung too sharply. Then, on a Thursday night around 9 p.m., my phone rang. Amanda's name lit up the screen. I hesitated before picking up. We hadn't spoken since that chaotic dinner, though she'd sent a few kind texts. I hadn't really known how to answer. "David, sorry for calling so late," she said, her voice strained and urgent. "But I need your help." "What's wrong?" I asked immediately. "It's the restaurant. My parents there, in real trouble. Ryan's rebrand has been a complete disaster. Regular customers stopped coming, the new menu is a mess, and his influencer friends didn't do anything to help. If things don't change soon, they'll be bankrupt in a month." I sat upright in my chair. "What happened exactly?" "Pretty much everything you warned us about. Ryan overpromised and underdelivered. The partnerships he bragged about fell through. The new health menu confused loyal customers. And now they're drowning in food costs and empty tables." The bitter irony wasn't lost on me. I'd seen this train wreck coming the moment Ryan started talking about lifestyle synergy and clean branding. "And you're calling me because—" "I know we don't deserve your help," she said after a pause. "You have every reason to walk away, but they're going to lose everything, David. 20 years of work, gone because Jessica trusted someone's ego over your actual talent." Another silence. "I've been thinking about your app, the original version, before Ryan twisted it into some wellness gimmick. Could it still work? Could it save them?" I leaned back in my chair and stared up at the ceiling. A part of me wanted to say no. Let them fall. They picked their side. They humiliated me. But another part of me, the part that still cared, still believed in what I'd built, wasn't ready to watch that place collapse. Not yet. But another part of me, the part that remembered Mrs. Liu's dumplings and Mr. Liu's proud stories about building his business from nothing, couldn't quite let go. "The app could work," I said slowly, "but it would require a complete reset. Throwing out everything Ryan implemented and starting over. What would that cost?" I did some quick mental calculations. It's not about money, Amanda. It's about trust. Your parents would have to commit completely to the technical solution. No second guessing. No interference from fitness influencers with bright ideas, and they'd have to publicly acknowledge that the rebrand was a mistake. They're desperate. Enough to agree to anything at this point. What about Jessica? What about Ryan? They're not going to just disappear because the wellness concept failed. Amanda's voice got harder. Jessica's been conspicuously absent during this crisis. She and Ryan have been too busy with their new life to deal with the consequences of their advice. Mom and Dad are starting to realize where their loyalties actually lie. Something in her tone made me curious. What aren't you telling me? There's something else. Something that might change everything for you personally, not just professionally. My heart started beating faster. What do you mean? David, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be completely honest. Do you still love Jessica? Even after everything she's done, if she came back tomorrow and begged for forgiveness, would you take her back? The question hit me like a physical blow. I'd been so focused on getting through each day, on processing the anger and humiliation, that I hadn't really examined what remained of my feelings for my soon-to-be ex-wife. I don't know, I said finally. Why are you asking? Because I need to know if what I'm about to propose is fair to you, or if I'm just setting you up for more heartbreak. Amanda, what are you talking about? She took a deep breath. I'm talking about marriage. A real marriage between us. Not some rebound romance or revenge plot against Jessica. Something genuine and lasting. The world seemed to tilt sideways. What? I know how this sounds. I know the timing is terrible and the circumstances are complicated. But David, I've been thinking about this for months, even before the divorce papers were filed. You're an incredible man, and my sister is an idiot for not seeing what she had. I stood up and started pacing around my small apartment. Amanda, you can't be serious. You're Jessica's sister. The family drama alone would be... The family drama is already at maximum level, she interrupted. Jessica destroyed that when she chose Ryan over her marriage and our family's business. And honestly, after watching how she treated you, I'm not particularly concerned about her feelings. But we barely know each other as anything more than family acquaintances. That's not true, and you know it. We've been talking for months. Those conversations about the restaurant, the texts, the way you actually listen when I speak. David, I know you better than Jessica ever did. I see how kind you are, how brilliant, how much you care about the people around you. I stopped pacing and sat down hard on my couch. This was insane. Amanda was proposing marriage while my divorce wasn't even finalized. The optics alone would be catastrophic. Think about it practically, she continued, her voice gaining confidence. You're about to be single. I'm single. We get along well, we have similar values, and we both care about my family's restaurant. A marriage between us would solve multiple problems at once. Amanda, marriage isn't a business transaction. Isn't it, though? Look at what Jessica's marriage to you was supposed to accomplish versus what it actually delivered. Look at what her relationship with Ryan was supposed to be versus what it became. Maybe it's time to try something based on mutual respect and genuine partnership instead of whatever romantic fantasy we're all supposed to chase. I had to admit there was a brutal logic to what she was saying. My marriage to Jessica had been built on childhood attraction and shared history, but where had that gotten us? Meanwhile, my conversations with Amanda over the past few months had been some of the most intellectually satisfying interactions I'd had in years, even if I were crazy enough to consider this. I said, what about your parents? They just publicly rejected my help in favor of Ryan's. Now, you want to marry their former son-in-law while his divorce is still pending? My parents are facing bankruptcy because they listened to Jessica and Ryan instead of you. I think they're ready to admit they made some serious errors in judgment. As for the timing, well, sometimes life doesn't wait for convenient moments. She paused, and when she continued, her voice was softer. David, I'm not asking you to love me the way you loved Jessica. I'm asking you to give us a chance to build something real together, something based on who we actually are instead of who we wish we were. I found myself thinking about those text conversations, the way Amanda had defended me at the family dinner, the intelligence and strength I'd glimpsed beneath her quiet exterior. She was right that we'd developed a connection over the past few months, one that felt more solid and genuine than the last year of my marriage to Jessica. This is completely insane, I said. Yes, it is. The timing is terrible. Absolutely. Jessica will lose her mind. Probably. Will that bother you? I considered the question seriously. Would it bother me to upset Jessica?
Nice.
After everything she'd put me through, after the lies and the public humiliation and the casual cruelty. No, I realized. It wouldn't bother me at all. So is that a yes? I laughed, a sound that surprised me with its genuine warmth. Amanda, are you seriously proposing to me over the phone? I'm floating the concept. The actual proposal can be more romantic if you prefer. And what about the restaurant? If we did this crazy thing, would you want me to help save it? Only if you want to. This isn't conditional on your technical expertise, David. I want to marry you because you're you, not because you can solve my family's business problems. The apartment felt less sterile suddenly, less like temporary housing and more like a place where new possibilities might take root. I thought about Amanda's quick wit, her fierce loyalty, the way she'd stood up for me when her own family wouldn't. I thought about building something together instead of trying to salvage something broken. Where would we even start? I asked. We could start with dinner. Tomorrow night, just the two of us. No family, no restaurant crisis, no divorce drama. Just dinner and a chance to talk about what this might look like. And if dinner goes well, then we take the next step, the next one after that. David, I'm not asking you to marry me tomorrow. I'm asking you to consider a future that doesn't involve tiptoeing around Jessica's feelings or trying to fix something that was broken from the start. I looked around my empty apartment at the generic furniture and blank walls that represented everything my life had become. Then I thought about Amanda's laugh, her sharp insights, the way she'd seen through Ryan's nonsense from the beginning. Okay, I said. Let's have dinner. Really? Really? But Amanda, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it right. No hiding, no sneaking around, no apologizing for choosing each other. If Jessica has a problem with it, that's her issue to work through. I wouldn't have it any other way. After we hung up, I sat in the silence of my apartment for a long time, trying to process what had just happened. 20 minutes ago, I'd been a recently separated man wallowing in professional disappointment and personal betrayal. Now I was potentially embarking on the most unconventional courtship in Portland's recent history. My phone buzzed with a text from Amanda. Thank you for saying yes. I know this is crazy, but I think it might be the best kind of crazy. I looked at those words and felt something I hadn't experienced in months. Hope, not for reconciliation with my past, but for the possibility of a future I'd never imagined. The really crazy part was starting to think Amanda might be right. The dinner with Amanda changed everything. We met at Le Pigeon, a cozy French restaurant in Southeast Portland. Far from anywhere we might run into family or mutual acquaintances. I'd expected awkwardness, maybe some uncomfortable silences as we navigated this strange new dynamic between us. Instead, our conversation flowed like we'd been dating for months. Amanda wore a simple black dress that somehow made her look both elegant and approachable. I'd never really noticed how beautiful she was, always seeing her in Jessica's shadow, but sitting across from her in the candlelight, watching her eyes light up as she talked about her graphic design work, I wondered how I'd been so blind. Been thinking about what you said, she told me over dessert. About doing this right, not hiding or apologizing. I want that too, but I need you to understand what we're walking into. What do you mean? Jessica's going to try to destroy this before it even starts. She won't be able to handle the idea that you've moved on, especially with me. And when she realizes that our marriage could actually help save the restaurant, Amanda shook her head. She's going to lose her mind completely. I reached across the table and took her hand. Are you having second thoughts?
No.
But I want to make sure you're prepared for what's coming. This won't be easy. Nothing worthwhile ever is. She smiled at that, squeezing my fingers. There's something else you should know. I've been in love with you for a long time, David. Since before you married Jessica, actually. The confession hit me like a gentle earthquake, reshaping everything. I thought I knew about our history, Amanda. I know this probably sounds like some ridiculous romantic comedy plot, but it's true. I watched you two together for years, and I kept thinking that Jessica didn't appreciate what she had. You were so kind to her, so patient, so willing to put her needs first, and she just took it for granted. I thought back to family gatherings, trying to remember interactions with Amanda that might have hinted at deeper feelings. There had been moments, I realized. Times when she'd seemed particularly interested in my work, or when she'd defended me during family discussions. I'd attributed it to sisterly loyalty, but maybe it had been something more. Why didn't you ever say anything? What was I supposed to say? I know you're married to my sister, but I think I could love you better than she does. That would have gone over well. She laughed softly. Besides, I hoped I was wrong about Jessica. I hoped she'd figure out how lucky she was before it was too late, and now I know I was right about both of you. She didn't deserve you, and you deserve someone who sees your worth. The next week moved quickly. Amanda and I spent every evening together, sometimes just talking in coffee shops, other times exploring Portland's food scene or walking through the Japanese garden. Each conversation revealed new layers of compatibility I hadn't expected. Understood my work in a way Jessica never had, asking thoughtful questions about coding and app development. More importantly, she shared my values about family, loyalty, and building something meaningful together. But our growing relationship existed in a bubble that couldn't last forever. Reality intruded on a Friday afternoon when Marcus called me. With news that made my blood run cold. David, you need to know that Jessica's been asking questions about you. Specifically, she's been asking if you're dating anyone. Would you know that? Because she called Sarah and Sarah called me. Apparently, Jessica ran into Sarah at that boutique downtown and started pumping her for information about your personal life. She wanted to know if you were taking the divorce hard, if you were seeing a therapist, if you'd started dating yet. I felt a chill run down my spine. Jessica had never shown this level of interest in my emotional state during our marriage. Why would she care now when she was the one who'd filed for divorce? Did Sarah tell her anything? Not much, but Jessica's smart. She'll figure out something's up if you keep disappearing every evening. And David, there's something else. Sarah said Jessica seemed off, like genuinely disturbed by the idea that you might be moving on. That evening, I told Amanda about Jessica's inquiries. We were at her apartment in the Arts District, space that perfectly reflected her personality with exposed brick walls, covered in her graphic design work, and plants thriving in every corner. Amanda said, curling up next to me on her vintage leather couch. Part of her probably assumed you'd spend months pining after her, maybe even try to win her back. Finding out that you're not falling apart without her is threatening her narrative. What narrative? The one where she's the prize? Everyone? Fight's over. Think about it, David. She's got Ryan now, but what's the point of winning if the other guy doesn't care that he lost? Amanda's insight was uncomfortably accurate. Jessica had always needed to be the center of attention, the one everyone desired. Having me move on peacefully probably felt like a rejection of everything she believed about her own desirability. So what do? We stick to the plan. We're not doing anything wrong, and we're not hiding. She wants to know what's going on in your life? She'll find out soon enough. The confrontation came sooner than we expected. The next Sunday, Amanda and I were having brunch at Screen Door, a popular spot in Southeast Portland known for their ridiculous wait times and even more ridiculous portions. We'd just been seated when I saw Jessica's car pull up outside. Followed us, I said quietly. Amanda glanced toward the window, and her expression hardened. Of course she did. Jessica walked into the restaurant alone, scanning the crowded dining room until her eyes found us. The look on her face was a mixture of shock, hurt, and something that looked dangerously close to rage. She made her way through the tables, ignoring the hostess who tried to stop her. What the hell is this? She demanded, loud enough that other diners started turning to look. Brunch, Amanda replied calmly, not bothering to stand up. You should try it sometime. Very relaxing. Don't you dare get smart with me. Jessica's voice was shaking with emotion. David, I need to talk to you alone. Anything you need to say to me, you can say in front of Amanda. She's my sister. She's also my girlfriend, I said, surprised by how natural the word felt. So no, I'm not going anywhere. Jessica's face went pale. Your girlfriend? David, are you out of your mind? You've been divorced for exactly 5 minutes and you're already dating my sister? Actually, Amanda interjected, the divorce isn't even final yet. But that's your fault, not ours. My fault? Jessica's. The voice was rising again. I'm not the one dating family members like some kind of twisted revenge plot. This isn't revenge, I said firmly. This is me moving on with someone who actually values what I bring to a relationship. Values what you bring. Jessica laughed. But there was no humor in it. David, she's using you. Can't you see that? She's always been jealous of me, and now she thinks she can steal my life by stealing my husband. Ex-husband, Amanda corrected. Or soon-to-be ex-husband, anyway. And I'm not stealing anything. I'm choosing someone who is clearly wasted on you. The hostess had appeared at our table, looking nervous. Excuse me, but we're going to need to ask you to keep your voices down or... We're leaving, Jessica snapped. Then she turned. Back to me, David. This is insane. You're making a huge mistake. Amanda doesn't love you. She just wants to prove she can take something away from me. Is that what you think this is about? Amanda stood up slowly, her calm facade finally cracking. You think I'm doing this to hurt you? Jessica, I couldn't care less about your feelings right now. You've destroyed your marriage all by yourself. You chose that fitness influencer over a man who would have done anything for you. You humiliated David in front of our entire family. And now you're upset because he found someone who appreciates him? Who's my husband? Was being the operative word. You filed for divorce, remember? You wanted out of the marriage so badly that you couldn't even wait until the papers were signed to start playing house with Ryan. So don't come here acting like David owes you some kind of mourning period. Other diners were openly staring now, phones probably out to record what was clearly the best drama they'd seen all week. I stood up and placed my hand on Amanda's shoulder. Jessica, you need to leave, I said quietly. We're not doing this. Here, fine. But David, when this blows up in your face, don't come crying to me. Don't think for a second that this changes anything about the divorce settlement. I wouldn't dream of it. She stormed out, leaving Amanda and me standing. In a restaurant full of curious strangers, we sat back down in silence, the mood of our peaceful brunch thoroughly destroyed. I'm sorry, Amanda said after a few minutes. I shouldn't have lost my temper like that. Don't apologize. She needed to hear all of that. But now it's real. Now she knows. And she's going to make our lives hell. I reached across the table and took her hand. Let her try. Amanda, I need you to know something. She accused you of just wanting to steal me away from her. My first instinct wasn't doubt or concern. It was anger. I was angry that she would diminish what we have, that she would reduce your feelings to some petty sibling rivalry. Amanda's eyes filled with tears. Really? Really? Whatever this is between us, it's not about Jessica. It's not about revenge. Or proving a point. It's about us and what we could build together. Even though the timing is crazy and the circumstances are complicated, especially because of that, easy relationships are overrated. She laughed, wiping her eyes. I love you, David Chen. I love you too, Amanda Liu. The words felt strange and wonderful and absolutely right, sitting in that noisy restaurant, surrounded by strangers who were probably already posting about our drama on social media. I felt more certain about my future than I had in years. My phone buzzed. With a text from an unknown number, but I recognized the tone immediately. It was Jessica, and she wasn't done fighting. This isn't over. I hope you know what you're doing, because Amanda will break your heart just like I did. The difference is, when she does, you'll have burned every bridge to get to her. I showed the message to Amanda, who read it with a grim expression. She's going to try to break us up, she said. Let her try. The only way she can succeed is if we let her. Amanda smiled, the worry fading from her face. Then we don't let her. I deleted Jessica's message without responding and turned my phone face down on the table. Whatever happened next, Amanda and I would face it together. And for the first time since this whole nightmare began, that felt like more than enough. Jessica's revenge campaign started immediately, within days of our restaurant confrontation. Rumors began circulating through Portland's social circles that I was manipulating Amanda to get back at my ex-wife. Anonymous posts appeared on Neighborhood, social media groups claiming I was emotionally unstable and using the younger, Liu's sister as a rebound relationship destined for disaster. But Jessica's biggest mistake was underestimating her own family's intelligence. When she showed up at the Liu family kitchen demanding that her parents intervene in Amanda's obviously toxic relationship with me, she walked straight into a trap of her own making. Mr. and Mrs. Liu had spent the past month watching their restaurant hemorrhage money, while Ryan's wellness concept failed spectacularly. The fitness partnerships had evaporated when his influencer friends realized there was no money to be made. The expensive superfood menu had driven away longtime customers without attracting new ones. Most damaging of all, Ryan had convinced them to take out additional loans to fund his marketing schemes, loans that were now coming due with the restaurant's revenue at an all-time low. "Mom, Dad, you have to stop this insanity," Jessica pleaded during what would become her final family dinner. "David is using Amanda to hurt me. Can't you see what he's doing?" Mrs. Liu set down her teacup with unusual firmness. "What we see, Jessica, is that your advice nearly destroyed our family's business. What we see is that David offered genuine help that we foolishly rejected. What we see is that Amanda is happier than she's been in years. But he was my husband," as Mr. Liu repeated. "You filed for divorce, remember? You chose Ryan over David, and you chose Ryan's ideas over David's expertise. Now you want us to tell Amanda she can't be happy because it hurts your feelings?" The conversation escalated quickly, with Jessica demanding loyalty from parents who had finally realized the cost of blind family allegiance. When she stormed out, threatening to cut contact if they supported my relationship with Amanda, Mrs. Liu's response was devastating in its simplicity. "Then cut contact. We're tired of walking on eggshells around your drama." That same week, Amanda and I received an unexpected call from a local television producer. Apparently, someone had pitched our story as a feel-good segment about second chances and family resilience. The irony was perfect. Jessica's attempts to publicly shame us had instead attracted positive media attention. "We'd love to feature your story," the producer explained during our meeting at a downtown coffee shop. "Small business family crisis, technical innovation, unexpected romance. It's got everything viewers love." Amanda squeezed my hand under. "The table. What would that involve? Interview with both of you, some footage of the restaurant, maybe a segment about the app development process. We're calling it Love and Technology, a Portland success story." I looked at Amanda, seeing the same mixture of excitement and nervousness in her eyes. This was our chance to control the narrative, to show Portland who we really were instead of letting Jessica's rumors define us. "We'll do it," I said. The segment aired 3 weeks later, just as Amanda and I were finalizing our engagement plans. The producer had done beautiful work, showing the restaurant's transformation as my app streamlined operations and brought back customers, while highlighting our genuine connection and shared values. The piece ended with us working together on marketing materials, Amanda's design skills complementing my technical expertise perfectly. The response was overwhelming. InnovateTech received dozens of inquiries from restaurants wanting similar apps. Amanda's graphic design business saw a surge in clients. Most importantly, the Liu family kitchen was booked solid for weeks, with customers specifically requesting to try the imported specials. But the real vindication came when we learned about Jessica and Ryan's situation. Ryan's fitness empire had collapsed spectacularly when several of his business partners discovered he'd been inflating his social media metrics and lying about his clients' success stories. The investigation that followed revealed a pattern of financial mismanagement and fraudulent marketing claims that destroyed his credibility in Portland's fitness community. Without Ryan's income, and with her own career suffering from the negative attention surrounding our family drama, Jessica found herself facing the same financial pressures that had once threatened her parents' restaurant. The house she'd demanded in the divorce settlement came with a mortgage she could barely afford alone. Meanwhile, Amanda and I were building something beautiful together. Our engagement announcement in the Portland Business Journal emphasized our professional collaboration and shared vision for helping family businesses thrive through technology. The photo showed us at the restaurant, surrounded by happy customers and proud parents, looking like we belonged together. Our wedding was small, but perfect, held in the same garden where Amanda had first told me she loved me. Mr. Liu walked her down the aisle with tears in his eyes, while Mrs. Liu dabbed at her makeup and whispered to anyone who would listen about how proud she was of her daughter's choice. Jessica didn't attend, though she did send a card. Inside, she'd written a single line: "I hope you're both very happy." Amanda read it once and threw it away without comment. 6 months later, I received a LinkedIn message from Jessica requesting a meeting. She wanted to discuss a potential business opportunity, something about developing an app for wellness coaches. The desperation in her carefully professional language was obvious to anyone who'd once known her well. I showed the message to Amanda over dinner at our favorite sushi place. We'd been married for months, and every day felt like confirmation that we'd made the right choice. "What do you want to do?" she asked. "Nothing." Jessica had her chance to work with me, and she chose Ryan instead. "I'm not interested in bailing her out now. No regrets." I looked across the table at my wife. It's a brilliant woman who'd seen my worth when I'd forgotten it myself, who'd risked family relationships to choose love over convenience, who challenged me to be better while accepting me exactly as I was, not a single one. A year later, the Liu family kitchen had expanded to 3 locations, all powered by the app Amanda and I had developed together. Our own consulting business was thriving, helping family restaurants across the Pacific Northwest modernize their operations while maintaining their authentic character. Jessica had moved to Seattle, chasing a marketing job that promised a fresh start. I heard through mutual friends that she was dating someone new, a venture capitalist who apparently appreciated her dynamic energy and innovative thinking. I wished her well and meant it. Holding on to anger felt pointless when my life was so full of good things. Amanda and I bought a house in the Alberta district, Craftsman with a big kitchen where we hosted family dinners every Sunday. Watching her laugh with her parents, seeing Mr. Liu teach me his dumpling folding technique, feeling Mrs. Liu squeeze my shoulder while she thanked me for loving her daughter well, I understood what I'd been missing all those years. Sometimes, the best revenge is simply living better. Sometimes the greatest victory is discovering that you didn't actually lose anything worth keeping. And sometimes the love you were meant to find was waiting patiently for you to recognize it, hidden, in plain sight behind someone else's shadow. Amanda was right that first night when she'd called me with her crazy proposal. Life doesn't wait for convenient moments. But if you're brave enough to reach for unexpected happiness when it appears, you might discover that the timing was perfect all along. Up next, you've got 2 more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hit the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out.